Let's talk about languages, shall we? Many of us learnt German or French at school. I did French. But why not Arabic? Now's your chance, though, because this Saturday is Arabic Language Day. It's a language, of course, that is spoken by a lot of people, about 400 million to be precise, and it was recently identified as one of the 10 most important languages for the UK's future. Be interested to know what the other ones were. However, only 1% of the adult population in the UK can hold even a basic conversation in Arabic. So let's try and remedy this, shall we? We'll talk to Philip Reeve in just a moment, who is a Dartmoor author, but we also have, live from Jordan, Omar Matadar, who is the director of the Qasid Arabic Institute. Omar, good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
You are very welcome. What's Arabic like as a language to learn for those who are not native Arabic speakers?
That's a great question. So I would probably say two words describe the study of Arabic. One, it's a beautiful language. And the second word that many of our students bring up is that it's a challenging language, which I think for many of our students actually is one of the big reasons they study it in the first place. They're looking forward to a challenge.
And of course it is written from right to left, left to right.
That is correct. Yes, it's right to left. That's correct.
My father lived and worked in Saudi Arabia for many a year, and he learnt a smattering, but just to get by. First thing he ever taught me was shukran, which I believe is thank you. Yeah?
That's correct. Yes, it's thank you. Mm-hmm.
Well, start from there. Politeness.
Well, I mean, if you do nothing else, when you go to another country, or if you're speaking to someone whose first language is a different language, just learn hello, goodbye, yes, no, please, thank you. It goes a huge way, doesn't it? Philip, are you a linguist? I mean, you're very much a man who works with language. Do you speak any other languages?
No, I'm afraid I don't. I've always been a bit dim at learning languages. I'm very good at remembering words. So with sort of French, German, Spanish, I kind of know a few hundred words probably. But I'm terrible at the grammar. So I've just never really got the hang of any of them. I can probably just about hold a simple conversation in French, but that would be it, I'm afraid.
Oh, the grammar. Do you remember going through repeating things? I don't know whether it works the same in Arabic. I suppose it is the same construction of learning any language. Ils ont, vous avez, and I used to get so bored with it and still get it terribly wrong.
Yeah, I wish I'd tried harder in many ways when it came to languages, because it's such a great skill to have, isn't it? It really is. Well, listen, Philip, by the end of the next 20 minutes, we're hoping that you will know a few words of Arabic, because that's going to be one of Omar's challenges. He's going to be the teacher. Fitz, okay. You and I are going to try and learn a little bit of Arabic.
Right.
Really?
Okay.
Okay, well, as I say, shukran. I'll just repeat that for the...
Yeah, be very careful when you just repeat the words you've been taught in Arabic, because some of them may not be broadcastable.
No, well, I hang around with some very bad people, and, and most enjoyable. By the way, Philip, any of your books been translated into Arabic? I know you have international sales.
Yes, I'm not sure. I think they have, or are in the process of... Obviously, with a sort of a 300-400-page novel, it takes a while to get them translated. So yes, I think there was an Arabic deal for Mortal Engines. I'm not sure if the books are actually out yet. But yes, they do get translated into quite a lot of languages, and it's always most interesting when it's a language in a different alphabet. When we get the Russian or Hebrew or Korean copies through, or the Arabic copies eventually, to look through and see how they're laid out, and especially with illustrated books, how they work with the illustrations, how they flow the text around them and things.
Surely there's something lost in the translation. I mean, what on earth is Mortal Engines in Arabic?
I don't know. Most of the translated versions tend to call it something like machines fatale or something like that, sort of dangerous machines, which there are sort of various double meanings to Mortal Engines in English, which get lost, I think, in the translation. But then who knows? Maybe something else is gained. I can't tell, because I can't read any of these languages.
It's interesting.
Let's throw this at Omar's feet then. Okay, translator. Mortal engines or dangerous engines, what would that be in Arabic?
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, maybe dangerous is probably an easier translation than the mortal, but maybe say, when we're saying engines here, we mean kind of actual physical engines, or are we talking about societal engines, Philip?
Well, both really, but physical, I guess.
Yeah. So I think we'd probably just say muharrikat khatira. So the word muharrik is the word for an engine. It literally means to cause something to move. That's a muharrik. And you can use it literally or figuratively in Arabic kind of similar to how we use it in English. And then khatir or khatira, it refers to something being dangerous, or kind of, it can even mean something that's like pretty significant.
Fascinating. I mean, and the thing is, you do it with such ease, Omar. I mean...
Were you bilingual from birth?
I wasn't. I started studying Arabic in college.
And was it easy to pick up? Because as you say, if you forgive me, were you born in America?
I was born in America. I was born in Morgantown, West Virginia. I'm not sure if you know Morgantown.
I don't know Morgantown. I know West Virginia. But so to actually put yourself in that situation, was it easy to pick up?
So it was not an easy process. That's definitely the case. But at the same time, I would say for me, it's definitely been one of the most rewarding things I've ever done in my life. I mean, interestingly enough, I actually didn't really choose this path. I started studying Arabic in college, but I was actually trying to study Spanish, but the Spanish class was full.
Easy mistake to make.
So this is pre-9/11, so it was actually pretty easy to get an Arabic class at that time. 9/11 happened right after that, and then it became very difficult to find an empty seat.
Ah, right, okay, I can understand. Now, again, if you listen to Brazilian and Portuguese, and there is a difference, is there a regional accent? Are there different words as you go through the entire Arabic world?
Yeah, that's an excellent question. Yeah, so Arabic has diglossia, so there is a registered variety of Arabic, and there are also regional dialects. And then even within particular countries, you'll find that the dialects change quite a bit as well. And that actually is one of probably the biggest challenges of learning Arabic. Many students, when they first start, they almost feel like they're learning two separate languages at once.
Actually, interesting. I was thinking it's a language that's spoken in a lot of countries. In terms of the number of countries that use it as their first language, it's probably the most widely spoken language, would you say?
That's a good question. I mean, so around 25 countries have Arabic as their official language.
Yeah.
And then Arabic can certainly be used as a language, even if it's not the official language in certain countries. Like you mentioned earlier in the broadcast, over 400 million people speak Arabic, whether natively or as non-native speakers.
Yeah.
You see, it's something that, English is supposed to be the most countries speak it, but obviously not by population.
Not necessarily as a first language for English. And Chinese or Cantonese by the largest number of people, but the largest number of countries may well be Arabic. I don't know.
And a sweeping statement, they always say it's the most difficult to learn.
What, is English?
English.
Oh, it's a horrible language, isn't it? I mean, we're completely inconsistent.
Yes.
The different letters are pronounced in different ways at different times. We have multiple words meaning the same thing. We have the same word meaning multiple things. Oh, it's very, very confusing.
You're talking about bow, boff, bow.
Well, exactly.
Yes, cough, off, through. Yeah,
just nonsense. And having talked a little bit about the Arabic language ahead of Arabic Language Day on Saturday, Omar, we thought it would be very good if you could teach Fitz and Philip and I a little bit of Arabic. I mean, I don't know what would be a sensible thing to do, you know, hello, my name is, or whatever. What would you like to try and get us to be able to achieve?
Yeah, I think that's a great way to get started. An introduction is always really useful if you come to Jordan, hopefully in the future. So probably the first thing you would say is just say hello. And so you say marhaba.
Mahada.
Marhaba.
Marhaba.
Very good. Excellent. Yeah.
And that kind of sound is very characteristic of Arabic, isn't it?
It is. Yeah. You can imagine it's very hot day and you drink a glass of water and then you just say like that sound.
Marhaba. Hello.
Marhaba. Yeah, just like that.
Okay.
Marhaba.
Okay, that's good. Yeah. Marhaba.
And then you want to say your name. So to say my name, you use one package. You'd say ismi.
Ismi.
So one word, ismi. Yeah, ismi. So it means my name. And then just fill in the blank there. So I would say ismi Omar.
Okay. Philip, do you want to have a go at putting those together?
Not really.
Go on, Philip.
Me, Philip.
Isni.
Very good.
Yeah, Isni. Yeah.
Marhaba, ismi Philip. I'm not Philip, am I? No, that's you.
It's you, fool. Yeah.
Marhaba, ismi Michael. There we go. Good. All right, that's good.
Right.
Next up.
Wonderful.
Give us another.
So yeah, I mean, something that's really helpful in Jordan, which you use all the time, is a phrase here. They say "Ya'tik al-afiyah."
Oh, hang on a minute.
Which literally means, this is a little bit more difficult. But it's Ya'tik al-afiyah. It literally means may you be well, may you be safe, may you kind of always have your health. What's interesting about it is you say this all the time. If you call somewhere to kind of get directions, the first thing you'll say is "Ya'tik al-afia." If you're in a cab and you ask the cab driver to let you down, to kind of stop and let you down there, you'll say "Ya'tik al-afia." It's kind of a ubiquitous term that's used all over. But it's a little more challenging. So we can maybe break it down. So you say "ya."
Yeah.
If you want to say "ya."
Yeah.
And then "qi."
Say that one again.
Say "ya'ti." You say "ya'ti."
D.
D.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So "ya'tik," then say "ya'tik."
Yadik.
Very good. And then you say "al-afia." Al-afia.
Elafia. Now,
Very good.
what I'm doing is, I presume you're doing the same, Fitz, is just writing this down phonetically. So I've got Yadik Elafia.
Yeah.
Very good. Mm-hmm.
Yadik.
And what's interesting, exactly. What's interesting about this, and this is something you find in the Arab world, they call these mujamalat. These are kind of courtesies that people use with each other. And whenever someone uses one courtesy, there's an automatic expected response. And it's this kind of subtle way of telling people you're in the know. That if you know the expected response, it's this way of them almost implicitly showing that they're from around here.
So what
normally what involves...
Yeah, so what would the response be to Yadik Elafia then?
So the response is just flipping it on its head. You say Allah ya'afik. You say Ya'tik al-afia, then you say Allah ya'afik.
And would that be the same as the greeting one often hears from the Arabic word of salam alaikum, and then the response is it
Wa alaikum assalam.
Which is pretty much flipping it over, isn't it? Yeah.
Exactly. You just say wa alaikum assalamu alaikum, and then the response is wa alaikum assalam. And that's something for a lot of our students. It's amazing how if you just know that kind of simple pattern that's there, it's amazing how impressed people are here locally, and it really helps a lot with connecting.
It's a very polite culture, Arabic language culture, isn't it?
It is. That's very true. I mean, there's a saying, there's one of these kind of courtesies almost for any situation you can think of.
I must admit, when I listen to Irish or Welsh, I speak a bit of Irish, and you think there is no correlation whatsoever with any other language on this planet, I can assure you, when it comes to Celtic languages. But then again, they adopt something. So in the middle of a machine gun delivery of incredible piece of Welsh, suddenly you hear the word chainsaw. And you think, what? Where did that come from?
Well, that's an interesting thing with languages, isn't it? And the French with the Académie Française are very, very much against the import of other words into the French language, but new words have to be invented. So, when someone in a different country comes up with the internet, the French end up with le internet.
Le internet, yeah.
I believe so. I mean, presumably the same as in Arabic as in any language. Omar, you sometimes have to import words or make up new Arabic words.
One assumes there is an Arabic version for spiralizer or soda stream.
Yeah, that's true. A lot of those words I actually only learned after soda stream. I haven't learned so far, but some of the other words I only learned here on the job. But yeah, in Arabic, in the Arab world, specifically in Damascus, Cairo, also here in Amman, they have language academies as well. They have the same type of you could say there's a tug of war that's there between words that they want to keep somehow within the system of Arabic and words they feel like they have to borrow from other languages just to keep up with the times.
I have to ask at the moment, you're in Jordan. Can you just give us, first of all, what's the time difference?
So we're 2 hours ahead of you.
2 hours ahead. And weather-wise, as Philip sits in his swirling mists on Dartmoor, we're on a cold, damp, grey day of about 12 degrees, if that. You are?
We are, so Jordan, it gets surprisingly cold here, actually. So it's actually 12 degrees here as well.
Oh.
Well, that's not what I expected.
Oh, right.
That's true. A lot of people don't expect that. A lot of our students, when they come in the winter, we tell them bring warm clothes, and they just don't believe us until they arrive and they feel it.
Now, listen, we have got calls coming in on this, and this is... Well, I think this is great because we are going to have a bit of Arabic on the radio. This is a new branching out for BBC Radio Devon. Diana is in Exmouth. Diana, tell us your story.
Well, the story is that when I was about 9 or 10, my godfather, who had been working in Kuwait, he came over here for holiday, and he taught me quite a few Arab phrases because I was always interested in the words and language. So I learned, first of all, to say salam alaikum, alaikum assalam, and then I was taught. He said to me, if you ever get into really a bit of a problem with any Muslims, just say the following, and this is what he taught me. I may have got pronunciation wrong, but here goes. Ilah, ilah, ilah. Muhammad Ishulala.
Right, okay. Omar, marks out of 10?
No, she's doing great.
Good. We haven't caused offence. That's good, right?
Not at all.
Inshallah.
Inshallah is yeah.
That means God willing.
God willing. Yeah, it's always the way. Inshallah.
And what does Diana's other sentence mean? The first sentence that she said, Omar.
So yeah, that's La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah. So it means there's no God but God, and Muhammad is his messenger.
There's only one God, and Muhammad is his prophet.
Yep, that's it. Yeah.
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 No, I'm very impressed, Diana. I think may your God go with you. It's as simple as
Thank you.
that. Thank you very much
sharing
indeed.
it with us.
Bye-bye.
Cheers, bye-bye. It's when I know people can be a little unkind and they teach words and no, it means thank you. Oh, no. No, one particular Chinese version that I learnt should never be mentioned in any polite company. It was taught to me by somebody in Hong Kong who thought it was funny. Yeah, not to worry. And you can get the words wrong, I hasten to add, which can cause great offence, but not this time.
No, pleasingly, that is the case. We're going to talk about comedy in a moment, but just as we move on from language, let's just say to Omar, Shakran lakum.
Shukran.
Shukran lakum.
Thank you.
Afwan. Afwan.
Good.
Lakum?
Lakum? Did I get that right?
That's Turkish delight, isn't it?
Listen, I looked it up on Google. It must be true. I was trying to say thank you.
Yeah, shukran means thank you, and then lakum means for you, to you. So it's kind of a way of emphasizing it.
Shukran.
Lovely.
I wasn't far out then. Excellent.
No.
I'll go with that.
Thank you, Turkish delight. That's what I got.
Stay there, Omar, because we're going to talk about comedy as well now. What about in the Middle East, Omar? What is funny in Jordan?
Yes, so I think a lot of the humor that I see here in Jordan, so stand-up comedy is definitely, as an art form, it is new in this part of the world. So I think a lot of times stand-up comedians are modeling, so they're going to look for role models outside of the region. But a lot of their humor really does kind of come in, you could say, categories of almost heritage humor, observational comedy. So they're oftentimes kind of talking on or speaking about stereotypes, things that have to do with everyday life here. So you very much have to be kind of in the know to really kind of get that particular comedy. And there is some dark humor as well. I mean, the region certainly has had its share of political strife and wars and then previous kind of colonialism, things that really put a lot of pressure on generations of people. And so that dark humor is a part of, whether it be stand-up comedy, previously in a newspaper you had a kind of your morning comics, things like that. That definitely took a role as well.
And what about sitcoms? Would you see a sitcom or an equivalent of a sitcom on Jordanian TV? I mean, is there a Friends?
So not quite a Friends, but they do have sitcoms, yeah, definitely. And more of those are, so for a long time, a lot of music, media, movies, the center of that was actually really in Egypt, in the Arab world.
Yeah.
So the Egyptians commonly referred to Egypt as Dunya, it's the mother of the world. And so a lot of, even so the Egyptian dialect was widely understood throughout the MENA region because of a lot of the media that came out from there. Over the last, say, 10 years or so, even maybe 15 years, you have a lot more local media, a lot more local art that's coming out. And so you do find that in Jordan as well. There are sitcoms, there are kind of short programs, you have Netflix films. And so there's definitely a lot more activity now than there was previously.
Friends in Arabic would be Asdiqa? No, I can't remember.
Asdiqa, yeah, Asdiqa, exactly.
Okay.
Oh, you're good. Well done. I'm impressed.
I must admit, I've just typed in Jordan and comedy, and I've gone straight through to, unfortunately, Air Jordan 3 retro sneakers. But at £11,500 for a pair of sneakers, I think that is the biggest joke I've heard in years.
I think, isn't it? Yeah.
What is the world coming to? Sorry, Omar, I've just the wrong Jordan, obviously.
Yeah, it is a problem.
I thought you were going to find something about the woman from Gladiators. It's a different thing altogether.
No, we'd move on from that particular area. Listen, we must wind things up.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming on. Muhaba, Ismi Michael. Shukran. Was that to Philip or to Omar? Shukran to both of you. Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Philip, Omar, we really appreciate both of you and your time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Cheers.
It's been good talking to you.